Hello, everyone. The conversation continues. I'm Michael Dismuke. I'm a freelance writer for Star Trek Adventures and also Captain's Log, the solo RPG. I'm also a blogger on Continuing Missions, which is the #1 site for Star Trek Adventures RPG and Captain's Log. In addition to doing this wonderful show for now 100 and something odd episodes with the fantastic Jim Johnson.
Hey everybody, Jim Johnson. I'm the project manager and line editor for the Star Trek Adventures RPG, published by Modiphius Entertainment. Also, the Captain's Log solo RPG. Did I not say that? Yeah, no. Captain's Log solo RPG as well, both published by Modiphius Entertainment. Happy to be on this show with Michael these many years. And we have a fun, short little episode here for you tonight that we thought would be useful. Michael, you want to introduce it? Or you want me to?
Yeah, well, basically, I want you to start with it because we hear a lot on social media, people coming into the game. You know, we're growing the game one person at a time. And one of the questions that I see most on social media is, where should I start? What should I buy? How do I get started in this game? And so I thought, well, instead of, we've interspersed this answer through dozens of episodes, I know, when it came up, but I thought, why not have one truncated episode where we give people a little appetizer for how to get into Star Trek Adventures and some of the key supplements if they want to expand beyond the core rulebook. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Where would you start?
All right, so first I'll get this caveat out of the way first. If you're playing Captain's Log, all you need is Captain's Log. Go get that. You're done. The show's over. Good night. However, if you're talking about Star Trek Adventures now, you have to understand newbies that are coming into the game, and we love you, and we're excited to have you here. Star Trek Adventures is a mature game line. It's been out for 7+ years. There is a wealth of material, and I'm confident it could be overwhelming because there's a lot of stuff. In fact, I was just working on a document that recaps our 2023 releases, and I compared that to the 22 releases, and I compared that to the 21 releases. There's just a ton of stuff that's come out for this game over even just over the last couple of years, and it ain't gonna stop because there's more. I got a robust release schedule for 24 and 25 already in the books. Not in the books, but yes. Firm, solid, and then projecting ahead. But anyway, so the last 7 years though have been super productive, and I totally get it. Like a new fan coming into the game, holy cow, you got so many options and so much stuff to think about. But I'm going to take my Modiphius hat off for a second and just say I'm a raging fanboy of Star Trek Adventures because I love the game. Even though I'm the project manager, I love the game. I am not trying to sell to you. So the best, simplest, easiest way to get into this game at zero cost, except the cost of your internet service provider, whatever, go find BC Holmes's character generation app, which is updated with literally everything that's come out for the game so far. So that's your ticket to creating characters, creating NPCs, creating space sectors, and whatever other crazy tools.
Starships.
Ships, yes, ships that are built into there. And I know BC is constantly updating it with new stuff. So free character builder app, and then go download one of the 2 free quick starts. We have a Starfleet focused quick start adventure, and we have a Klingon focused Klingon focused adventure. So if your group is into the stabby pew pew and want to get into the fighting and action right away, grab the Klingon one. If you want to be Starfleet and you want to be a little bit more thoughtful and a little less stabby, then grab the Starfleet one. Either one of those quick starts will immediately get you into the game with pre-generated characters. We'll teach you the system because the system is summarized in 30 odd pages. So you don't have to go read the core book tome of 360 pages or the Klingon core book, which is 400 pages, right? That's a lot of great content, but it's a lot, right? And it's a lot for a newbie to absorb. So basically, long story short, to get started with the game, grab one of the free quick starts, either one, don't care. And so use the free quick start to get into the game and play the introductory adventures. Check those out because they're in there. And then use the character app to make characters, make NPCs, etc.
I think that's really cool. So just the fact that you can get into a game for free to get whet your appetite is really cool as an option there. And from having played the quick start and having been involved playing this game for 8 years, I can tell you right now that that's a very satisfying game. That
Mm.
first one really gives you a holistic view of the rules, the mechanics, and by the time you're done with it, the players are like, "That's it? That's all I got to do?" It's like, yeah, basically, that's it. From there, you can really start writing your own stories, especially with the preaching characters.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
you don't even have to go write your own stories because we also have 15, I think it's 15 free mission brief packs that you can go download off of the Medifia store or Drive Through RPG or whatever. And each one of those mission brief packs contains 10 high level outlines of an episode. Like it gives you the story beats, it gives you minor plots, it gives you the synopsis, it gives you a conclusion, it gives you opening captain's log, suggestions for NPCs, most of which are tied directly to the core book, but you don't have to worry about it because you may not even need NPCs, right? You can
Yeah.
just narrate it if you want to.
So that's 150 episodes. That's like a whole 7 seasons, if not more.
Yes, it's 100. It's seriously 15 mission brief packs that are
Yeah.
all free, and so that's 150 episodes. So like just literally starting this game with zero cost to you. You got your quick start adventure that has all the key rules in it, especially the core mechanic,
Mhm.
which is like, I mean, really, you could probably take the core mechanic and run hours of Star Trek adventures and not even worry about any of the advanced rules, like much less combat or starship combat. And then the character app has all the character building stuff in it. And it may not have the nuances that the core book has, and that the core book explains a little bit better,
Yeah.
or more in depth. But it'll get you started. It's enough to get you into it. Definitely enough for a convention game.
Yeah.
Definitely enough for a game, at like a game store or something. If you wanted to run a one shot at a game store or something. Um,
And from what
so
I've heard,
yeah,
I'm pretty confident that once people start there, they'll salivate and want a little bit more. It's kind of
let's
what
hope
I've
so.
seen happen. And so if they do graduate from that and they want a core rule book, I want to point out that there are 3 core rule books. I know I have my favorite to start with if I was to do it, but let's talk about each one of those core rule books, the difference between them. And then maybe Jim, tell me which one you would start with. I know which one I would start with.
Yeah, well, I mean, so we've given you some options, right? Again, because you are benefiting from the fact that this is a mature game line, 7 years strong, continuing on. We do have 3 different options for core books now, so you can go with the tried and true traditional original core rule book, which is Starfleet focused, also very much focused on the next gen DS9 Voyager era. Not that you can't use it for original series, Enterprise, or literally any other era you want. It's just that when the game launched in 2017, we had to pick something to kind of go with the default era. And we felt that 2371, there was just a ton of stuff going on in the Star Trek universe. You had the Dominion War starting to brew up, Voyager just disappeared, the Enterprise D just crashed on Viridian after generation or after after generations. So Starfleet needs a new crew was our little tagline
Mhm.
for that book, for the launch. And it's a great opportunity to get in, be Starfleet, and go do cool Starfleet stuff, right? Uh, the core book's got everything you need. Again, you can play it any era out of that core book if you want to. If you want a dedicated Klingon experience for your campaign in your group, go get the Klingon core book. You don't need the original core rule book. All the rules are in there. Everything you need's in there. There's an alternate reputation system. There's an alternate character development system if you don't like the one that's in the Starfleet core book. So then you're off and running being a Klingon and having a great time as a Klingon. The third option is the Rules Digest, which is in the tricorder set, but it's also available by itself. Of course, all this stuff is available on PDF as well. But when we did the tricorder set, that's the original series era tricorder set, we did a smaller sized paperback digest of the core rule book. And we developed the tricorder digest right about the same time we were developing the Klingon core book. So the handful, and seriously, it was really a handful of rules tweaks that we made in the Klingon book, we mostly carried over to the tricorder book. But I've apologized before, and I'll apologize again. We were under an incredible time crunch to get that tricorder done, and so I didn't have time to do all the changes I wanted to make in the tricorder set that we made in the Klingon core book. I mean, literally, I was making changes right up to the 11th and a half hour until I was like, okay, we got to send it, otherwise we won't make our our deadlines and stuff. So,
Yeah. Well, I
um,
know my favorite personally is the
yeah.
tricorder set, which I kind of call the TOS Strange New Worlds Discovery era, because that's really where it would fall.
Uh-huh.
So those are popular shows right now, and
Yeah.
that genre of time is starting to expand the canon. I liked it because of the reasons you mentioned, the simplification. I love the size of it personally.
Mhm.
I think it's soft cover as opposed to hardcover, which is a challenge just because durability over time. I'm curious to
Mhm.
see how it survives, even though I do use the electronic version more. But the biggest thing that I liked about it was when it came with the tricorder set. Not only was the tricorder set cool, but it came with the Kirk Tunic dice, the green dice. So if you want the coolest dice out there, that was a cool buy. Now, in
Mhm.
a question, in order to get the Rules Digest, do you have to buy the tricorder set?
No, we print when we printed the tricorder set, we made sure to print overs of the Rules Digest. So we printed, umpteen number of tricorders, and then we did a plus on the digest so that we could sell the digest by itself. So you don't have to buy the tricorder set. I will argue though, again, I'm not trying to sell to you, but like bang for your buck, gaming dollar value, that tricorder set is hard to beat because you've got the Rules Digest, the big thick like 300-page Rules Digest in paperback. You've got a full blown 3-part campaign that yours truly wrote, and I had a lot of fun with it. There's tokens in there. There's 2 sets of pre-gen characters. There's the Enterprise crew, the classic Enterprise crew, and then also the Lexington crew that you can use in your game. What else did we put in there? Reference cards for all the different key things about the game, and then also a whole bunch of dice. Right, this is the dice pack from the tricorder set. You got 5 Kirk Tunic dice, which are green with the gold lettering, and then you got 10 challenge dice in a really clean, easy to read format. So 10 dice, or actually it's 15 dice. 15 dice plus the rule book, plus the campaign, plus a bunch of other stuff in an awesome box that opens and
Yeah.
looks like a tricorder. I don't have it in front of me, but
And it's past
I
it's
got one.
past the time, but there was a wicked sale on it around in November.
Yes,
There was a wicked sale. I think you could get the whole thing for $46. I think that was a US
yeah,
dollars or something. And I was just like,
Black Friday sale, yeah.
that was like 50% off. And it was just like almost 50% off. So that was cool. But either way, that's that the TOS one or yeah, the Rules Digest is my favorite. So
Yeah.
once they start there, that again, it's graduating up to, okay, I want to have all the mechanics and all the rules and have a little bit more fleshed out. Maybe those core rulebooks give you some history about Star Trek and the command and the different divisions and how they work, the departments. So that's
Mhm.
for the person who really is like, oh, I'm loving this. I want to world build a little bit more.
Mhm.
Okay, so someone gets the core rule book. Now I know this is controversial. What do you get after that? Because we all have our favorites. So why don't you
Yeah.
talk about if you only could get, let's say, if you could only get 2 books for you, Jim, to support that, what would your 2 books be? We'll talk about other
Man.
ones later, but I'm gonna say if you were on an island and you only get 2 additional books to take with you, what would you take?
All right, so this is assuming I've got the core book, a core
Mhm.
book, right?
And
All
all
right.
the free
So
stuff you mentioned.
if I am a player,
Mhm.
and I am probably never going to game master, I'm just going to be a player. I'm dedicated to being a player. I've got my core book. What 2 books am I going to buy either in PDF or in print format, whatever? I mean, who cares, right? Whatever format you're getting, as long as you're getting it and having fun with it. If I was a player, the 2 books I would get are the Player's Guide and the second one's going to kill me because
Let's see
there's
if we agree on
so
this.
many options here.
I agree with you on the player's
As a
guide.
player, um, assuming we're playing a Starfleet game, I'm getting the Player's Guide and I'm getting Utopia Planitia.
Interesting.
Those as a player, because the Utopia Planitia book has literally every space frame from the 20th to 25th, early 25th century. For Starfleet, so I could take the Player's Guide, the Utopia Planitia book, and I am. You know what? Wait a minute. Let me think about this.
Yeah, I think you're gonna change. I honestly think you're gonna flip on that. I think I
You know what?
know
I
what you
think
would
Utopia
pick.
Planitia would be better for somebody else. Um,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna rescind that. I'm gonna say Player's Guide for sure,
Mhm.
but number 2 most utility is gonna be the Lower Decks campaign guide.
Exactly. I agree.
Because
I agree.
there's so much stuff in there that's not related to the TV show that is great for Starfleet campaigns, especially for junior officers, and probably a lot of the players are going to be playing junior officers. So yeah, I think that's what I would do. Michael, I got to ask, what are your two picks?
Yeah, so you nailed it. So that's why I was like, Utopia Planitia, really, that's space
Yeah.
frames.
Okay.
It's really the GM that designs what space frames you're going to be
Yeah.
interacting with, not the player. Player's guide for sure. That will teach you, in my opinion. I wrote a large chunk of it along with some other talented writers. Will teach you to be one of the most amazing players your GM could ever want. If you really look at all the information in there, it was meant to unleash your creativity and be like, oh my goodness, this is my game. This is my game to play. So that's definitely creativity center. I love the second one. Why Lower Decks? And I would select it is because there's a section in case you're new to Star Trek. Not only does it give you some basic history about Star Trek, great episodes to watch, but there's tropes, and it teaches you right away about what how Star Trek is built. So you can have any kind of story, but what are some of the tropes you can throw in, and not being afraid to unleash your imagination with how you use the technology, whether it's deflector shields or transporters. Like it kind of is, once I think when the new person reads that, they're like, oh, I get to make this up. Star Trek is all about unleashing the imagination. Plus, as we've said on other shows, Lower Decks is the HR of Star Trek. So it's the official, unofficial human resources book. So you're going to learn about career pathing. And even if you're the department head, you can have some really fun games running your department. Remember, if you're on the bridge, you're a department head. So you could get some insights into, I want to explore my department a little bit more. Who works for me? What does that hierarchy look like? Or if you're a lower decker, how do I climb to get onto the bridge if I want to advance my career that way? So I just think it's a player. That one, it's a little, you can get past the goofiness if you're playing a more serious game and cut out the comedy from Lower Decks, but you're going to learn a lot about first contact, second contact missions and what goes on inside a ship. So that's why Lower Decks would have been my player selection too.
Yeah, and from a game mechanic standpoint, I think the supervising character rules in the Lower Decks book really nicely complement the supporting character rules in the core rule book. So you could play, junior officers as supporting characters, or you could play senior officers as supervising characters. And there's a nice parallel there. So I think that would work really nicely. Yeah, great stuff, Michael. And then as a game master, I think this gets a little bit more challenging.
Yeah,
because I know a lot of the books, even though they're not specifically oriented to the game master, just by their very nature, a game master is probably going to buy them and get the most use out of them. But
I'm going to make your job a little easier answering this question too.
Okay.
Because I think it's important to differentiate it. Let's say if you were a game master and you were running a game TOS era, what would be the two games you pick? The two books you pick? And then we'll say if you were TNG era, what would be the two supplement guides you pick? I think it's important to differentiate that because I know it would affect my choice.
Okay, and we can get even more granular. Okay, so I'm a game master running an original series campaign. I'm getting the game master guide, and I'm getting the discovery campaign guide, because the discovery campaign guide does a lot of stuff that sets up the original series, and to an extent sets up Strange New Worlds, of course, but also ties into Enterprise. There's just so much stuff there. So I think filling that gap between Enterprise and original series and providing a lot of meat for characters who are in original series, because a lot of the characters in original series probably have a direct experience with the war. And that's all Discovery season 1, season 2, which that book is all about. So if I'm a game master doing an original series Starfleet game, or actually, I guess even a Klingon game, original series Klingon game, the Discovery campaign guide covers both, and then the game master guide is going to cover anything I need to tighten things up. What are your two picks if you're a game master of an original series era?
That's why I separated it, because as you know, and I've said many times, I actually, I'd seen Discovery the first time, but I did not really enjoy Discovery till I got the Discovery campaign guide and read it.
Oh yeah,
It set everything in order for me, and it placed all the characters and major events. It made sense to me. And one of the pieces I like for TOS era is you get that timeline of the events of the Discovery. So you kind of understand a little bit more the geopolitical interstellar that's going on there. And I just love the design of the book. I think it had cool technologies, which other era that don't show up as Star Trek tropes. initially. So you have a lot of food and a lot, and it just really brought that era alive. So again, if I'm doing TOS, and say if I have again the core rule book, the game rule digest, and then of course the Game Master's Guide is epic. A very popular book that a lot of people have picked up and read, even if they don't play Star Trek RPG. But I think Discovery would definitely be my next choice on that one.
Nice.
All
Nice.
right. TNG, what would be your two selections?
So now if I'm a game master running a next gen era, next gen DS9 Voyager, late 24th century, late 24th century, probably mid to late 24th century in that time frame. I would probably still make the Game Master Guide one of my top choices, just because there's so much great advice in there about effectively running a game, storytelling, ways to enhance the rules, make things easier, etc. I think I'd probably still get the Game Master Guide, and then I would either grab the Utopia Planitia book, because there's just such a wealth of space frames and stuff in there. Although I have to say that's almost more of a reference book, and I don't know that I would get as much use out of it. I think the book I would get the most use out of as a game master, especially if I wanted to drop just a F ton of story on my players for a good long time, I'd be grabbing the Shackleton Expanse campaign guide, because even though there's original series stuff in there, it is super heavy on next gen stuff, and it's a 10-part full-blown epic epic campaign plus 46 mission briefs. I mean, that's years of gaming right there, without even blinking. There's stuff in there for the players. There's some original characters, original character species in there, bunch of stuff. It's 300 solid pages of just story goodness. So if I'm buying two books, I'm buying the Game Master Guide and Shackleton, I think. And if I'm playing a Klingon game, those are definitely the two I'm going with. I'm going with Shackleton, because Shackleton was written specifically to cater to both Starfleet games and Klingon games. So if I'm getting the Game Master Guide paired up with the Klingon core book, I'm set there. And then I'm adding this massive Shackleton book on top of it. Those are my two choices for those two forks in the road, as it were. But Michael, what are yours?
Definitely Game Master's Guide. I think every game master should have that one. And my choice for the second one would be based on one factor. Do I want to build my own world, or do I need help building my own world? If I need help and I'm not quite sure where to go or how to design a campaign and stuff like that, Shackleton Expanse Guide is definitely going to be the choice, because all you have to do as a game master is drive people through that epic story. And it has a lot of pluses to it, new kinds of characters, a lot of material for world building. So, and an entire area of space with a map to be explored. So you have all the tools you need in the Shackleton Expanse Guide. You really don't need anything else to run a campaign.
Yeah.
But like you said, with all the stories and stuff, it's very comprehensive. So that's if I need help world building. Now, if I'm more, and my team is like, we want to make up our own stories, we want to set up our own species, and I don't want to be held down by anything, I'm going to go with Utopia Planitia, because it shows you how to run a ship. So besides all the space frames that are in there, that's an education about shipbuilding. You also have in there, like, what do you do for mining resources if all of a sudden your ship is damaged? It has, again, a wealth of information about protocol on a ship, running a ship. And I know one of our goals and one of the challenges you gave us writing it was, after people are using Utopia Planitia, do they feel like they've walked the corridors of their ship? Do they know the systems very well? Can they take one of these apart and build a new ship? And so I think if I was, again, wanting to build my own world and create my own stories, I'm going to pick Utopia Planitia as my resource.
Nice. And if you were playing a Klingon focused game, what would be your two picks?
Definitely Game Master's Guide. And for TNG era, you said?
Yeah.
I actually might, if I'm playing Klingons, which are a little, again, separated from Federation, because those books I mentioned are kind of Federation heavy. Even Shackleton Expanse Guide, you have to do a lot of mental tweaking in order to get it there. I think, in my opinion, I actually think my second book I would pick if I'm playing a Klingon game would be the Beta Quadrant book. I would go back and grab Beta Quadrant so I understand everything around the Klingon Empire, and make that the central focus of the game. Those kind of characters, those species, the Romulan border there and stuff like that. I think that would actually be my choice.
Nice.
Would be to go with Beta Quadrant book.
Good choice. Good choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then um, just those two books, whatever category we just talked about, you can certainly don't sleep on the fact that Star Trek Adventures has a wealth of digital supplements available as well. We have 25, 26 adventures available for purchase for a couple bucks. We've got tons of crew packs. So if you want to play a canon character, you just want the canon characters to reference. We've got character packs for most of the series available to you in variety of seasons. We've got the animated series supplemental guide that just came out not too long ago. So if you love the animated series, or you want even more character species to play with, grab that one and have fun with it.
Honestly, to tell you the truth, if that would have been out when I started running my game,
yeah,
I bet you I'd be playing animated series right now, because I think everyone got so excited when they saw that I would grab the animated series with the IDW Year 5 supplement, and I would use those two and explore that. That would be a really fun world to build.
Yeah, the IDW year. So if you're into the Star Trek comics, right? So maybe you're a comic book fan and you're wondering where the comic books are represented in Star Trek Adventures, go grab yourself a copy of the IDW Year 5. Or even Shackleton. We have a beautiful sidebar in Shackleton that references the Gold Key comic era. It's not a lot, but we had to get a little Easter egg in there for some folks. But yeah, I mean, the IDW team did such a fantastic job on that Year 5 series, 25 issues or whatever it was. And we got the timing just right. Got lucky working on that as they were winding down that series, and they gave us all the art that we can use and just some great material there. So that would be super for you fans out there.
I think one of the wonderful things about playing RPG nowadays is the PDFs are pretty much immortal, right? That really, back in the days when I was playing RPG in the 80s, you got the hard copy, you had to make photocopies of it, you had to hole punch it, you had to put them in plastic sheaths to preserve them over time, and so that was the only choice. Now, don't get me wrong, I know I'm not a pack rat, but I collect these because of the covers. I like having the hard copies. But the fact that there's no such thing as coming in late to the game, because the PDFs are always accessible for the entire line. I suggest people, again, you may watch this video and say, okay, well, I happen to be playing a Gorn game, or I'm actually playing a Fenris Rangers game, or I'm playing a Prodigy level game. You can, again, go on to any of the social media where we're at, ask the question and say, hey, I only have the budget for $3. What should I get? And I'm playing Prodigy. And you're going to have people shout out advice and ideas and stuff like that. So that's kind of a really cool thing about the immortalization of PDFs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we haven't even touched on the division books or the quadrant books or the two adventure supplements. So I mean, that's 9 more books right there.
Well, let's ask one more question. Let me ask one more question, because this is fun.
Okay.
Because we have a limited time, I know, but
yeah.
Suppose you wanted to play an admiral level campaign, and you had selected you had selected the core rule book. You have that out of the way, but you only get one book to choose because you're going to be playing an admiral level campaign. What would be the book you choose?
I think it's got to be the command source book, because that's got the Admiralty rules right in it.
Yeah, exactly.
I still want to supplement that with the Game Master guide or the Player's Guide if I'm a player or a Game Master.
Yeah,
but command would be great for that, because it gives you more space frames. If you're not buying Utopia Planitia, at least you're getting some more space frames in the command source book, and it gives you the Admiralty rules plus some rules on star bases, which would be handy. And then if you wanted to then go and do a Dominion War campaign, go grab the Gamma Quadrant book, right? Pair that up with command, and then you can go be an admiral during the Dominion War in your set.
That'd be cool. Awesome. Yeah. Yep. Something for everyone. So good. I think this was good. It's a shorter video, but hopefully people who've listened to it. And again, if you listen to it at double speed, it only took you 15 minutes to get through all this.
Don't do that though, because I talk so fast already, you wouldn't be able to understand me.
Okay. 1.25 speed. Okay. So I think this is nice. And what we could do, Jim, is once this is published, then anytime someone, asks on social media what they should start with, we could just drop this link in the chat and not have to type
I
million
like it.
times over.
I like it. We'll have to make them listen to it for 15, 20 minutes or whatever, but it's not so bad.
It's not that bad. We're likable people, I think.
We
Okay.
should do a video like this that just like explains the core mechanic, so we can get people over the fear that it's so complicated and it's so difficult to figure out. It's like, really,
Right.
the core mechanic, like you strip away the momentum, the threat, everything else, you just focus on that one core mechanic.
Mhm.
You can have hours of great gaming experiences with just rolling 2d20, right? Don't even get into the momentum and threat or the challenge dice. Just roll 2d20.
Happens
Like,
all the
oh gosh,
time.
that almost sounds like a solo RPG.
Exactly. That's a whole nother episode. Good point. All right, cool. All right. This is one of our shorties but goodies here. Let's move into our gratitude moment. I'll go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and give gratitude to I think Zoom today, and the technology that's advanced podcasting. When if we would have tried to do this 10 years ago, it would not have been as easy. But this is a thank you kind of to the people who've set the example of YouTube videos. It doesn't have to be high production. It has good information. And I've been pleasantly surprised at the uptake and people's response to watching our show. So thank you for everyone who watches. Thank you for the technology that and it enables amateurs like me to get up here and provide some information and talk about something I love and continue the conversation. What about you, Jim?
I want to thank all the fans, specifically the fans that have been creating YouTube videos, creating Twitch videos, creating job aids, game aids, and finding ways to help new players get into the game faster. Not just by providing, what books should I buy next kind of things, but like who are actually teaching the game, helping the game. I know that, there's just so many videos out there right now of people trying to break down the game into its component parts and explain those different components to make it easy. So thanks to all those fans who've been doing that over the years. You're really doing heroic work to get more fans into the game. And it's grassroots. We're building this game one fan at a time, and the fans are helping other fans, which I really appreciate. Can't thank them enough. So thanks to those fans that are doing that, and then also just thanks for the casual fans who've been with us from the beginning too, and are joining all the time. Like every Sunday, we see new fans joining the Facebook group at least.
It never stops.
That's the one that's most visible. Like I see new people pop up on Discord. I see new people pop up on the official forums from time to time. Reddit is harder for me to keep track of because the number is so big. But I think new fans come into Reddit fairly regularly as well. So the game's healthy, and I'm grateful that the fans are supporting each other without even Modiphius getting involved. Right? I mean, I try to answer the questions when I can, but sometimes the fans are on top of it faster than I can get there, or Nathan can get there, and I'll read your answers, and I'm like, oh, okay, you're done. I got nothing to add. Just thumbs up, or I'll hit the like button or something. Say, yep, call good. So anyway, fans, thank you. Appreciate you all.
All right. Well, cool. Well, until next time, the conversation continues. IDIC.
Live long and prosper. Be safe. Be well. We'll talk to you soon.